Hey everybody, you're listening to the Combo Wombo podcast. I'm Chipmunk, with me as always the Mr. Gimpy.
What's up, Chip? How's it going, brother?
What's happening, man?
Dude, whole lot of nothing, man. Just sitting here this Easter morn waiting for the family to wake up. You know how it is.
Yeah, man. I don't actually, but yeah, I get it. Yeah, all right. It's a bit rude, but yeah, all right.
Right?
Did you catch
My
the
bad.
WrestleMania, dude?
Oh, I did not. Do not spoil it for me. I'm watching
All
it right
right.
after this, brother.
All right, people. Yeah, I won't. All right, people. You know, it's WrestleMania. It is what it is.
Okay. Did you watch it? Night one, anyway?
I did not. No, I've just been watching highlights of it all morning.
Okay.
I've been just going pure. I don't have like 6 hours to burn on a WrestleMania.
Oh, dude. Yeah, man. I figured my kids will be up within 6 hours, so I'm just gonna start it right now, and then when they come downstairs, I'll be already watching it, so it's fine.
Yeah, man, you're up early today, dude. You're on the grind.
Yeah, man. Fatherhood
stops
for no man. Yeah, right. I know. I'm actually awake. Yeah, for
Discord,
sure.
All right,
for sure. You know, a little bit of Easter duties in the morning, but also a whole lot of getting a coding idea while I was asleep, and then just jumping up and getting on it.
A coding dream, dude.
Not even really a dream. I just kind of woke up and I was like, I figured it out. You know, I understand it now. And
oh shit, dude, that's what's up.
Went down. So in my pig game, I'm defining the pigs' behaviors and want them to individually want to work, play, eat, you know, go idle, be lazy. I want them to have a sense of community. Yeah, state machines. And I want, when they're playing, I want them to kind of like group up to play together, which I'll put here, like what I have, but also I showed you the other day, Chip, of what I had of the pigs kind of like grouping up in the pen. So, I got that working, and that felt good. Then I started working on a more robust debugger because I was having some pathing issues, and I got that figured out. But then within writing the debugger, I realized I wasn't in my new debug object I made, and I was clearly in my pig events. So I spent probably 3 hours making a debugger like in my pig event, and I had insert on, and I had the debugger was working and saved and all that crap, and I didn't follow what we preach and back up. I'm so far back that if I go back, I'm just restarting from scratch, which may be the way to go. But my debugging stuff broke my pig logic.
No, it was working, bro.
It was working.
So I'm dragging around the different states.
So I do have I have it backed up to where I got it working in the first place. But it's one of those things where I have to decide if I want to just go back there, which I think I'm going to, or just try and salvage what I have to not have to rewrite the debugger again. But the debugger doesn't work anyway right now, so I'm like, I might as well, right? Like, what am I going to lose but time? So
yeah, man, you're already this deep in.
But yeah, man,
you got some fresh eyes today, maybe.
Yeah, I got some fresh eyes. I'm actually drinking to blur there, but the lemonade here got going in the morning. I had coffee, then I just wanted something like
some vodka,
sweet. Yeah, right.
Jeez, so you get turned up on Easter, dude.
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna just
lemonade hitter, dude.
Sit down, watch WrestleMania. I'll have the laptop with me, just clickety clacking on that, see if I can get everything back working. But man, over the last few days, we've been making a lot of progress on the game to the prototype.
Nice.
Pig states are more advanced than I've personally ever coded in my life. So many different states that they're going back and forth. So I feel really good about that. I feel like I've learned a lot.
Decent, right?
Yeah, man, I'm having a blast doing it, man. It's been fun to just sit down and work on the thing. It's something to be said that I had time to do it, and I've been doing the damn thing. So it's been good, man.
That's what's up, dude.
How about yourself, brother? How's it been? Huh?
I've been just chilling. I've been going back and finishing up some smaller ideas that I had back in the past.
Yeah,
like things that really don't do it. Like So at one point, me and the professor, he's always throwing out like random ass game ideas. At one point, he was like, and I've also said that I want to do this a few times on the pod, like some sort of like card game, some TCG style, like a Hearthstone style game.
Mm-hmm.
So I've written out at several different points, like rules for like I don't know, we've talked about this a long time on this pod as well. That like game design is like spreadsheets, like actual design work.
Yes.
So I have like 7 or 8 different like documents for like various card game like ideas for card games.
Card games, sure.
Yeah, and I was like, I have like a glossary of terms and stuff, and like I was sitting there and I was like looking at that again the other day, like it came back into my mind. I was like, man, I should probably take another look at this and like gather all these notes in one spot. So I did, and then after that, I started playing around with the AI overlords. So I tried ChatGTP, and then I threw it all in there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was trying to do is run a Monte Carlo simulation, which plays the game for you.
Okay.
And so like they have like a hookup to Wolfram Alpha, which is like all they do is maths there. It's like a website for maths.
Yep.
So you can plug in through ChatGTP to that. So I gave it like my cards, the rules, and like basic starters. And then I was like, play 100,000 games with these cards, and then like let me see the results. And like, yeah, they have like most the cards are okay. Then I have like 3 or 4 that are like super overpowered, and like 2 that are like busted. They just like die all the time.
Sure.
Or like round 3. There's, it's like 38% survival rate in 100,000 games. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, fuck yeah. And then I tried it again in Claude, and they don't have like any Wolfram Alpha plugin or anything, but they have like a analytics tool that they use. So it basically wrote like a JavaScript thing that also ran a Monte Carlo simulation. But what was nice about Claude is like I could run it like several different times for different things. And like I was using free GDP. So I ran into like the limit after like, 10 or 12 queries or whatever it is. And so I pay for Claude, and so I had to run that, and like it wasn't as good because it's not Wolfram Alpha. Like it took way longer. Sure. But by the end of it, I had like 7 or 8 different questions and queries, and then like at the end, I like had it write an executive summary for me to be like, I was like, because I could also use project files, so I put like all my rules in the project files, and I was like, all right, looking at like all the rules I have written here, what are some suggestions I can make? Like, what are some problem areas? And I've heard this before about like writing scripts or movies is that you should listen to reviews from people, but not their solutions, right? So like I feel the same about games, where like somebody might point out like a problem that's in your game, but don't listen to their solution because they're probably wrong.
Because they're not. They don't have your idea.
Well, it's that, and they're not writers. They're not making movies, right?
Yeah.
So they might see like this scene or this like thing isn't working, or like this mechanic or like whatever part of the gameplay is not working, but they don't understand like the underlying systems. So like some of the suggestions it had, it was just like, oh, just like nerf this problem. And I'm like, no, this problem isn't happening because of that. It's happening because of like how combat is fundamentally done. So I need to like work on like the base core mechanic, not like the symptom of the problem type of thing.
Makes sense. Yeah.
These computers and the, critics, they don't know, dude.
They don't know what you know.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was really cool. It was cool to get like an executive summary. It gave me graphs and charts and shit. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is kind of cool.
Nice, man.
I feel like a big pimpin'. Aside from that, let's see here. Yeah, just did a little bit of writing and then chill. I didn't get any progress done on my game, but I was thinking about the game as well, that I've been working on the little ninja thing. It should have been done by now, obviously. Like really, there's only like hard work left to do. I probably will try and do it today. I think today's like a day to like get shit done. I feel like you said, it's Easter for you. I got nothing else really going on here. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of spring cleaning and then maybe like clean out like this old project as well while I'm at it.
There you go. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I got. I'm switching over in my household from winter to spring, summer. So behind me is just like all of our family stuff. I just gotta sort and put away in the closets and the bins and the storage room and all that. So yeah, that's probably after WrestleMania. I'll have the kids play around after all the Easter stuff in the afternoon, morning, and then probably get stuff put away and this room filled up or cleaned up again. And I got my VR spot that's ready to be cleared. Like I have everything just set up, so it's not one of those cycles of ebb and flows of, oh, I can't play VR because my spot's filled.
Yeah.
It's still ready to go right now, even because I moved
Man's
the
ready.
progress directly behind me instead of in the VR
All
spot.
right,
Because I
man.
figured if it's directly behind me, I will be more likely to not be lazy and move it right away. So
Yeah.
so that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, man, that's progress to my game, and that's really all I had this week. But I did want to
Oh,
talk about
yeah.
some of like the greater gaming fronts of what happened, and just get your opinion
Mhm.
on a couple of things.
All right, let me
So
quickly cap off my thoughts here too, as well. That
sure.
I don't know. I don't know if like because I know like the game I'm working on like doesn't have it. Like it's not going to be like a commercial game or anything like that. And
Hmm.
I know I'm doing this kind of as a hobby, but and I've always had this weird mindset, and I don't know if this is right or whatever, but for some reason I think this way that uh, you have to do the lazy like in all things is the way type of like the samurai style thinking of like uh, if you can't complete like this basic thing like step by step and like do the boring thing to
Hmm.
complete like your idea, then uh, I don't know, it goes back to like almost like discipline. The idea of discipline is
Yeah.
uh, like because I don't know, you could be like sitting around complaining that you're not getting like a job or an opportunity or whatever it is.
Hmm.
But if you're like looking at yourself, like if you reflect back to the things you can control, and you're just like your attitude shit, you're not doing any of the work. Like uh, if your dream opportunity came to you, like you're not gonna be able to like excel at it. Like because like you're reinforcing like all the worst traits. You're like, oh, this job sucks. I'm not just gonna do the bare minimum. It's like, all right, but if you got like your dream job, are you gonna just do the bare minimum then? Or you somehow think like a switch is gonna flip, and then you'll be like, oh, now I gotta want to start actually doing the thing. It's like, no, dude, everything sucks, dude. Like you just gotta like learn to grind through like the suck. Like I don't know. I don't know. Am I onto something there? Does that make sense at all?
No, grinding through the suck, as you said, is a necessary part of just not even just creativity, but going through this game we call life.
Yeah, man. You could go
Like
to the gym. It's
like
gonna
my day
suck.
job,
You could get,
I legitimately like my job, right? But
yeah,
there's
same, bro.
definitely parts that I'm just like, this is boring as hell, or why the hell am I doing this, or what?
Yeah.
But so I just got to get through it. But so yeah, even working on this game I'm currently working on, right? Like, is it fun
Yeah.
that the stuff I made just broke through
Yeah, dude.
my own doing? No. Am I gonna push
Damn.
through it to get past the suck? That's the plan,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's part of it, right? That's part of the journey, and that's actually a perfect segue into some of the things I
Oh,
wanted to
shit.
talk about.
Yeah, let's go, dude.
So, shout out Sir Solace. He listens. He is a part of Danger Kings with myself when we were making games, and he's back on the grind. He recently got CRT TVs to do retro gaming and stuff, but he did
Oh,
something that was super cool, actually. So our our old Game Jam game, Super Galaxy Start Busters, it's still on Game Jolt, and he displayed that on his CRT TV and had everything running through it. And we made
nice.
that Game Jam at the time was made to be a game that could have been made in the 90s, 80s to 90s,
Yeah.
right?
Back in the
So
90s.
seeing our work from so long ago running
Decades ago,
on
dude.
a CRT TV
Even more decades ago.
was one of the like best things that I've seen in a long time, man. It's so cool to see your work in a medium and using technology that you grew up with, right?
Yeah.
So why do we want to pursue this whole game dev hobby, or some people game dev career, right? You want to
Yeah.
create something that you enjoyed as a child, typically, right? Like no one of our generation, because we would be like the third generation game devs at this point, third, fourth.
Dang.
So
Yeah.
if you really get into it, because those
Still early.
people had an idea, but they're trying to sell a product, and then it slowly became an art form, right? Now for us, we've had that product that we grew up with. We've already experienced the art, but now we want to create art in that medium. So to
Yeah.
have something that we did for a game jam to replicate that era, to see it running on a device from that era it validated, like, not saying that what it was doing wasn't valid, but it validated just my feeling and my love for the hobby to see that. Yeah. Right. And I've said before that a lot of times when I'm making like a platform or something, I like to test it using a USB Sega Genesis 6-button controller, because that was my childhood. Right. That's what made it great.
You got running out CRT with the Sega controller, dude.
Exactly, like, man. Exactly. So, shout out Sir Solace for doing that, man. He showed it to me yesterday, and it stuck with me, man. It stuck with me more than I thought it would. So it was really cool to see.
Living in the future, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Future retro past.
Exactly. But that being said, going forward to what I wanted to get your opinion on with the time we have left. So games release, like right now, the cycle is games release. They have, that initial press push. They have the initial user base reviews, and then the bigger releases, it's really ebbs and flows. No game is just okay in the initial release right now. They're either super great or they're terrible and should have been thrown in the bin.
Yes, sir.
That being said, what happens if you have a game that had so much potential, but you just missed the mark when you released it? The AAA devs behind the Lords of the Fallen it's not even really a remake. They just used the same name and made it the same type of game again. It's a weird situation, but the newer Lords of the Fallen released, it looks graphically really good. It released to mediocre reviews, and then the community who play Souls-like games had a lot of understandable gripes with it.
Sure.
So, the game released, it did all right, but it didn't really have the staying power, and then there's so many gripes that people had where they kind of wrote the game off. Here's what these guys did. This is their first game. A lot of them were industry vets, but it's their first studio, right? They went back to the drawing board. They reworked the entire game. Not only that, they redid models to make the female characters more like physically attractive. They completely worked the gameplay systems.
Some himbos?
And on top of that, on top of all of the fixes, which I won't go into here because I honestly read the patch notes just last night, and I didn't play the game, so I can't tell you what it was, but I'm just going off of the press release. They're calling it Lords of the Fallen 2.0. And for the first time in a Souls-like game, they have a friend pass. So you can if you can right now download the game, play through the tutorial, and if someone owns that game, you can just play through co-op with them.
It's one problem, bro. Nobody plays Lord of the Fallen, bro.
Right. But that's one of those things where it's such a goodwill move. And I'll link the press release, so if anyone's interested, we'll read it, and maybe people will go towards Lords of the Fallen. But the amount of work that they put into that, the amount of community feedback that they received, took the criticism to heart, and then tried to do something and then make the game that they wanted to make and put it out there to get more eyes on it and to get people to try it. Even though the game came out and I wasn't a fan of the original Lords of the Fallen, I was not interested in this reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it. Redo, I think, is more appropriate. But seeing the devs' passion for it just has completely just made me do a 180, and I want to check the game out. I want to give it a try. I want to, support it. It may not be what I'm looking for in a Souls-like, but I got to respect the hustle. So what I wanted to ask you is, how do you feel about not only a AAA studio doing that, but maybe in a smaller sense? Do you support this? Do you think that sometimes you should just cut your losses? Or if you really believe in a project, to go back and rework it and try again? Do you think, how would you have handled that situation, or what do you prefer?
Man, I think, and I've sent you some of those guys' YouTube videos where he talks about just kind of packaging and then reselling a new version 2 of the game, spend more, put it back in the oven, be all right, this is and I showed everyone in the pod my thing about mechanics and systems, their little periodic table. So usually when people say don't start with your dream game, what they mean is scale things way down. So if you put out your dream game on that table, you can see all the mechanics and systems, and then just boil it down to one of those systems or mechanics, and then make it modular and scalable, and then make a small game with that. And then your next game, you have like the second mechanic that would be in your bigger game, right? So with something like this, I'd tell them to just like release like a completely new, like there's only so much of like a hype window that you can do. Like if you're already like redoing models and stuff, like, I'd make even like simpler models and like change the entire art aesthetic, and then just release like something like that, but still in the same field, while like putting our efforts like towards like a next bigger release. Personally,
Okay.
I think like you can't really recapture that initial window. It's like incredibly hard to do. It's hard to like get timing right. Like I don't know. I've heard like somebody else say that like they're making the case that like GTA 6 is going to be like the final spark that's going to pop off the powder keg, which is like the games industry right now. And they made some very valid points where they're like, yeah, it's just going to sell so many copies. It's going to take up so much of the zeitgeist that no other games releasing are really going to sell any like units at that point. And it's like, what are all these other big AAA studios going to do for the next like 2.5, 3 years? Like everyone's just talking about GTA,
Sure.
So I don't know, man.
Is fickle, though. So even if
that's what I'm
GTA,
saying, dude.
They're still gonna buy new games. But
I was even thinking about this like in historical context, where it's like, like Shakespeare, Mozart. These guys weren't like famous in their day. I think like when Dracula came out, it was like the number 5 on the bestsellers list.
Sure.
And then like people like panned it. They're like, yeah, this is kind of garbage. And then like other people like read, and they're like, whoa, actually this is really original and interesting. And I think where we get like weirder with like modern games and media is like, there's going to be a lot of lost media, much like your CRT TV. At some point, like you're not going to be able to find one of those. At some point, like you're not going to be able to like play some of this old hardware media on software. And like, I don't know, a lot of people are trying to do a lot of stuff for games preservation. And like, that doesn't do anything. That doesn't help like the developers feel better about anything, right? Like you spend all this time, you pour all this work and heart into it. And then it just like gets a whimper. It doesn't even make a ripple.
Okay. Okay.
So
you're losing your thought, bro. You're losing your thought.
No, I'm saying like it's not reassuring to them, but like how maybe in like 20, 30 years, people be like, wow, this was an amazing game. How come nobody was talking about it? And then it blows up in popularity 20 years from now, like where they can't make any money from it, or like modders come in. We've seen this before where they like fix like a game, or they revive an old like MMO and like build up like server infrastructure. And like thousands of people are playing. It's like, I don't know. So I think like you gotta separate the two of like the art being successful and the financial success of it.
Gotcha.
And I think from a financial success point, like you gotta cut your losses.
Okay.
You gotta be able to like quit early and then like start on your next thing. Okay. I think like you can only do like this type of like move would probably work better in like a AAA studio.
Much like the Lords of the Fallen devs at this point.
Yeah.
Which I think they're technically AA, but it looks like a AAA game, so we're gonna call it triple.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like you can pour more money and promotion into it, like, but like even then like No Man's Sky, like they're kind of like the only shining example. Yeah. And like, is it really? Because like, I don't know, it's like the people who know about it are like, oh yeah, it's good now. That's it. Like you don't hear like anyone like walking back or apologizing, or like they don't get like a grand re-release, or when they throw out like a new expansion, like it doesn't hit like a hype cycle where they're like, this is the best, like they did it, boys.
I will say they initially did, but now that it's the point where it's good, any new things they add are just icing on top of the cake, but they won't have that it's good now hype anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the kind of with Lords of the Fallen, where it's like this is just like the icing on top of the cake, but nobody's gonna go back and be like, oh, maybe we were wrong. I'm gonna try it out now. It's like, oh, I heard that game was bad. Like I don't know, like the initial impressions.
I'm going back though. I'm going back, but I'm obviously not a member of the media. But I'm gonna try it out. So
all right, man. I feel like initial impressions are a real thing. It's a real psychological phenomenon. Like you're really gonna make up your mind about something, and if you see like the social proof that nobody likes it at the time, then like you're just gonna take that. So like those two compounding psychological factors, like you gotta spend a lot of money and a lot of like you're chasing good money after bad, in my opinion. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would cut my losses. I would just rebrand and like re-release like the exact same game. That's the crazy thing about it. You could put out like, instead of calling it like Lords of the Fallen, you'd be like, this is like an expansion in that same universe. This is like Kings of the Fallen now, part Deuce. Like,
right. So I do want to highlight that with version 2.0, they're they hit it during the spring sale as well, so it's on sale for much cheaper. So you're getting additional sales from the sale, but also you get the hype from the announcement. So, I appreciate the effort. You may be right, Chip, with kind of most people just cutting their losses and probably being the better route.
Yeah, especially like indie games. Like if you're like a smaller studio, if you don't have like a double or AAA budget for marketing, like it's such an uphill battle. Like it becomes like an uphill to an up mountain, dude. You're trying to scale Everest, dude. You're like, I don't know. It's like you could have a great game too. Like this, like. That's the thing about art. It's like very subjective, and it's very like, again, like your art might be beautiful and like stand the test of time, but like financially, like you can't live on that, dude.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. All right, man. Well, good stuff. Anybody who has an opinion on that, or if you appreciate the Lords of the Fallen Devs, just post on that YouTube. But everyone have a great holiday weekend. We'll be back next week for Combo Wombo Podcast. I'm Mr. Gimpy. That's
Chipmunk. Happy Easters.
Happy Easter, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. We out of here.
Deuces.